Welcome to 2020. I hope you had a safe and happy new year. And I thought this would be a great video to get me excited and ready to jump right in on my goals and my vision for 2020. So I did a upload before on how I do twisted pretzel rods using candy cowtails. This time I'm experimenting with almond bark. Purchased this from Walmart, as you can tell by the great value symbol at the top. This one is the vanilla flavored almond bark. I've seen some videos already with this and I really liked what I saw, and I thought I'd give it a try, compare it with what I usually use when I do treats, which is this. This is what I usually use. There's nothing wrong with the Nestle Toll House Premier White Chocolate Morsels. They have been very good to me. I like buying them because you get, but I have seen other treat makers and video YouTubers use almond bark and get just as good of results, if not better. So I decided to try it for myself. So again, I'm going to go over the things that I typically use when I do my pretzel rods. So I get my rods from Dollar Tree. I love the Snyders. I love Snyders because usually they're more solid and the sticks are more cohesive, so they're not curved in any way, they're not crooked, they're a good solid long stick, and I really like those. Dollar Tree does have another brand, I forgot the name of it, but it's an off brand, but they're usually readily available at Dollar Tree, but sometimes you'll see they'll have bumps on them, or they're not all consistent being long and solid, and you get a lot of breakable pieces or crumbles. Snyders are always good, but they're hard to find at Dollar Tree. And this is my secret weapon that I use when I do my rods, and it's the cowtails. Cowtails are basically just caramel candies with a vanilla frosting center. So they come like this. When you open the pack, you heat them in the microwave for about 3-second intervals, and they are easily able to apply it around your pretzel rods. In addition to those components, I also use Karo syrup, but this is optional. So I use this as an adhesive to make my candy stick to my rod. So like I said, it's basically up to you on how you want to use it, or if you want to use it, or if you want to use another adhesive. But if you do use the Karo syrup, I recommend getting your handy dandy brush that you use when you do your baking so that you can apply it, and I'll show you that later. I usually put the Karo inside its top and I just dip it in. All right, so I've had the almond bark melting. I did the double boiler method for the almond bark. If you're not familiar with what that method is, you're able to look that up on your leisure, but I will ever, and you're having to constantly stir and keep an eye on it and babysit it a lot. This was so simple. It started melting instantly, and that bark comes very thick and it almost looks like soap. But once it starts to melt, it melts instantaneously almost. I also like the baking chocolate does. Usually I have to work really fast with baking chocolate because it starts to set and get solid on you really quick. This does not, and it's just so smooth, and I mean, it's ready for dipping. I don't know about coloring it. I'll have to experiment on that, but for this particular project I need white. So I love it. And look how much you get. I've already dipped some, but I dipped maybe 10 already, but you still get quite a bit. You can see that. Okay. So let's get started. So you have your rod ready, and then your cowtails. I usually do these in intervals of 3. So you just want to open them up, take them out. When you take them out, you will see a chalky residue on it. Don't be alarmed. This is powdered sugar. It will come off in the microwave. So I do them 3 at a time. And I open them. Sometimes they can be a little tricky to get them open. A little more. So you open them. And then from here, you just put them in the microwave. So I get a little plate, put them in the microwave on intervals of 3-second intervals. Be right back. Okay, so they were in the microwave for about 3 seconds. And as you can see, the chalky powdered sugar has come off of this one. There's still some on these because they're kind of still hard a little bit. This one is soft. So you can probably put these back if you want to, but for the sake of time, I'll just show you guys. For the sake of time, I'll just show you guys. So you want to start by elongating them. So you basically just twist back and forth, elongating, twist, twist, twist. And what you're looking for is just for them to get longer, right? You're going to get some excess vanilla frosting. You just take your little knife and slide it right off. That's it. Keep twisting. Keep twisting, keep twisting, keep twisting. Twist, 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 twist. Keep twisting. So any parts that may be thinner than others, go ahead and even them out. And be fragile. Don't be too rough, because the thinner it gets, the fragile it will become. So again, just wipe off your additional frosting. Now that's pretty long enough, right? And you're ready to go ahead and wrap. So then you get your pretzel rod. You're going to take your end piece. So your end piece is more fat and round than the middle piece. Your middle piece has elongated. This looks more of like a cowtail, oxtail, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. So usually I just pinch. Some more of the frosting will come off. That's fine. We'll just scrape it right off. This is where my brush comes into play. I'm getting my Karo syrup, dipping it. And then I'm just applying it, right? Like that. You take your end piece. If you have, what I like to do is, if you have any parts of your pretzel that has come apart or cracked and you want to kind of hide those imperfections, this is a good place to start wrapping. So you go ahead and you wrap, flatten, make sure it's flat, and you see how it smooths out, right? That's going to keep it in its place as you dip. And then you just wrap, wrap, wrap. Don't have to be tight or there's no certain trick to it. You just wrap, right? Once you get to the other fat piece, you're going to do the same thing. Pinch. All of the frosting is going to come out. Slide it out. Apply your Karo. Your Karo or any other adhesive that's edible that you like to use, or you don't have to use any adhesive at all, because if your caramel is warm enough, it will adhere to your pretzel rod on its own. But for the sake of time, they do get hard fast, back hard fast. So I know that I like to do them in increments of 3, so that's why I use the Karo syrup as an adhesive. Get to the bottom, pinch, remove, Karo, press, and you're ready for dipping. On this last one, I'm going to show you how to get them tighter. Now you can also do this, rub with your gloves on, just rub. You can only do that is if they're hard. If they're too soft, coming straight out of the microwave, don't rub, because you're gonna break them, or they're gonna melt with the friction of your hands and gloves. They'll start to melt. Okay, so I got my frosting coming out. So even though you're squeezing out the frosting, don't worry, you'll still have frosting inside. Once you bite it, you'll see it. And it tastes like vanilla, almost like the frosting that's inside of an Oreo. It's kind of what it tastes like. So I got my rod. I'm gonna dip my brush, pinch, remove my excess, apply my Karo. So on this one, I'm gonna go closer together and show you the difference, and it's up to you which one you like. Okay, so flatten it, and then this time I'm gonna press in close together. Then I'll pinch, get rid of my frosting, apply my Karo, and close it out. Pinch it down. Now this one I did closer in together, and see how much room I have at the end to hold. This is the difference. So it comes down a little bit, well, maybe not on that one. You have less holding space on here than you do on here. So it's just a matter of preference, right? So you can come down longer or you can keep it short. It depends. It's up to you. I will also say that accents or gum paste accents, you might go toward. Absolutely amazing. All right, so ready to dip. So you got your rod and you just dip. So you want to give yourself enough holding space. Okay, and usually I just kind of go back and forth, and then you can also tap. Now what I've noticed too is that when I use candy melts or baking chips, chocolate, I get a separation sometimes because I'm adding oil to make it thin, and I'm getting separation. This, no separation because you didn't add anything. It's just really smooth, very nice, smooth, cohesive. So I have my wax paper and I'm just applying it to that. This is my little Lazy Susan. I love it, but I use it so much, the color is coming off on it, so I always have a protective layer under it. But anyway, that's what I say that. So again, going back in, dipping, you just dip, 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 and look at that. Wow, a beautiful coat, beautiful coating, nice smooth finish. mean, it's gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Nice and smooth. Doing my third one. Dip, dip, dip. Beautiful. Look at that. Beautiful. This was absolutely super easy. I love the way it lays. So solid and smooth. Okay. So you can also, you don't have to twist all of your pretzels. Sometimes people don't want theirs twisted. They just want the plain pretzel. You can do that as well. And just take it one. Get your excess off. See how that just falls down, no clumps, no separation. You didn't have to add any vegetable oil. You didn't have to add any water, nothing. Just one ingredient. Quite a bit left. And then I'll come back and show you what they look like. All right, so I'm back with the final results. So these are the ones that I did earlier today. And as you can see, they set pretty quick. I think they were in the refrigerator for about 10 minutes, maybe. These I didn't scrape off on the side, so it developed a pool. So make sure if you don't want this pool, see that pool, if you don't want that, to scrape it off whenever you dip. But if you forget, like I did, just get your knife and you can scrape it off. And you know, we don't like to waste, so you can scrape it back in your cup. You can scrape it back in your cup. So if I wanted to dip again, I could dip again. If you wanted to double dip, you could. I really love this. Now what I'm going to do is add some of the melted almond bark inside of a piping bag so we can apply sprinkles. Be right back. All right, so I have my piping bag. I'm going to apply some of the almond bark to it, just a little. I don't want a lot. And then I'm going to use that to make a drizzle so we can apply some sprinkles. So these are sprinkles that I made, and if I remember, I'll put a link to the video that I maybe a little bit more. And then what I like to do is over my bowl, I'll just kind of drizzle. Right, like that. And then from there, I'll apply my sprinkles. And it's okay if you overkill, because some of them will fall off. So that looks very St. Patrick's Day-ish. And then if you wanted to add a little bit more, you can drizzle a little bit more. And then you let it cool. And I'll show you what that looks like later. Here are the other ones that I did. Nice, very nice. And this is what they look like when you actually do scrape it off. So I have a little bit right here, but I can get that off with my knife. Just slide it off. And it's thin, so it just comes right off. You can also, if you have a torch, you can heat your knife and it'll glide right off. See? Nice, beautiful, beautiful. I love the way the almond bark, it just lays. Now I will say it's very, very thin. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a little thin as compared to chocolate chips or candy melts. But if you don't like how thin it is, if you want something more thick, if you want a thicker coating, just dip it a second time. So put it in the refrigerator, let it cool for maybe 5 minutes roughly, and then dip it a second time. But if you're gonna add sprinkles, there's really no need to go back in with a second coat. This should be sufficient. Okay. All right, so this is my finished product. Really, really like it. Love it. It was super, super easy. And I will be getting almond bark from now on because ain't nobody got time for that. This is very, very cute. I love the way it turned out. This event that I'm preparing for is a gold and emeralds type of theme, and so this works perfectly for me. I really, really like it. I like the sprinkles, I like the presentation. So thank you so much for tuning in and letting me experiment and show you what this was like to work with the almond bark for the very, very first time. I really, really love it. If you like this video, you already know what to do. Ain't nobody got to tell you, but just in case you don't, subscribe, like, share with your baking and your tree making friends, and I will see you next time, and welcome to 2020.